Sports Talk Nation. Welcome once again. It's your host, the G-Man, as we bring you our Week 1 featured matchup. And in Week 1, there was no one I was going to feature other than my beloved Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to try to keep this nice and short, and you can do it two ways. I can give it nice and short, which says the game went about as well as I could have ever expected, or I could give you my detailed analysis, which would probably take an hour. So I'm going to stick to the shorter side. Obviously, everybody knows the story going into this game was Carson Wentz, but it was more than that to me. It was Carson Wentz and it was Doug Peterson and how they were both going to handle being in this situation for the first time. I'm not one who is overly glowing, and I'm not telling you we're going to a Super Bowl. I'm not ready to book my tickets just yet, but I will tell you he looked as poised and as relaxed and as confident as you could ever expect in Week 1. I understand the caveats that you're playing the Cleveland Browns, which, by the way, kudos to the Eagles for putting him in there in Week 1 to get a chance to get a little bit of a warm-up against not such a great team. But that arm strength will translate against anybody. That brain that he has will translate against anybody. Is he going to make mistakes? Of course he is, and you expect that. But he rose to the occasion. Speaking of rise to the occasion, Doug Peterson, and I'll be the first to admit I had no idea what to expect. Anyone who told you he would be great had no idea. Anyone who told you he was an idiot because he was a bad starting quarterback in 1999, like my buddy Joe Burke, they're also an idiot. No one knew what he was going to do. He passed with flying colors. The biggest thing I was looking for in this game was clock management, which he's an Andy Reid disciple, and we know what Andy Reid did with clock management. And could he get the plays in and out quickly? There were no penalties. There were no wasted timeouts. At the end of the first half, they had all three of their timeouts to use. That is a huge, huge victory. They also mixed up the run and the pass. That's, of course, incumbent upon the run defense not being able to stop them. So they used Ryan Matthews effectively. Jordan Matthews looked great despite the drops. Zach Ertz is a big loss now that he's hurt, but what a game offensively. Defensively, I guess it was exactly what you would expect. The defense had high expectations, and I think they delivered. They had that one terrible play to the wide receiver where three guys looked like the Keystone Cops running into each other, didn't know where the ball was. But for the most part, they were aggressive. They got up on the line, forced them to beat them, which they couldn't do. The front seven is fierce. Anybody who was watching can take a look and see what happened to Michael Kendricks. The guy played like 20 snaps all game. He's the guy who comes off the field now in passing situations. He used to be considered our most athletic linebacker. Now he's a guy who can't even see the field. But all in all, really, really solid effort. You couldn't ask for any more. It's going to get harder from here on out. Everybody's all crazy now. They think that this is a walk in the park against Chicago. And granted, Chicago's not a good team. Jay Cutler will probably put the ball on the ground at least once and give an interception at least once. But you're going into Chicago, hostile environment. The kid's got to play away from home for the first time. So I'm not ready to write it in the books just yet. I do like the Eagles to have a chance to win this game, and I think Doug Peterson will once again be tested to rise up to the occasion. But I'm not ready to just anoint us just yet. Plus, the meat of our schedule is coming. Things are going to get a little more difficult. But in this first week, there's nothing but superlative. So anybody who comes out of here anything but happy, even the most ignorant, angry Eagle fan, has to be happy with the first performance. So with that, your Week 1 review of the Eagles game, 29-10 beatdown of the Browns. Couldn't expect much more. As always, I'm your host, the G-Man. Look for me back in Week 2 to discuss the Eagles, and I am out.